We are preparing our children to be global citizens. And that is a really powerful message, and that is significantly important. So everything we do in EdTech, everything we do in education, everything we do as teachers needs to reflect that aim and ensure that we're preparing our students to be the best they possibly can be. And it's not just us, there are others along on this journey. But let's talk about what we've done and where our journey begins. In 2016, I was on Twitter, the forbidden space. And on Twitter, we had a top trumps game. So my friend called Amjad Ali said, I will never be a head teacher because I am a male Pakistani. And I said, my friend, you are British born. I am a female immigrant from the Caribbean, Trinidad, lovely accent. And I'm black. My chances are so much smaller than yours. And as happens whenever you have those conversations in a public space like Twitter, everybody else jumps into your private conversation. And they went, well, if it's so bad, do something about it. So we did. In January 2017, we just got a group of people together and said, should we do a conference? I hope people turn up. And we did that. And lots of people turned up. And since then, we have grown from strength to strength. So when we think about where we are now, start with our website, which is lovingly constructed by volunteers. Everyone in our organization is a volunteer. Everyone who's a part of our charity is a volunteer. So we start there, where we have a repository of resources that's available to make this journey a lot easier. And we build up to all of the different programs that we have. So when we talk about what we're doing, not only is it a powerful newsletter that goes out to over 2,500 educators and teachers that holds all the information to get them to the next step. We help people on a personal level. We help them shape their curriculum. We help everyone think about their identity and the sense of belonging that they have in education. And even more powerfully than that, we coach and support them through every stage of their career. Because I will ask you this. Here's a little exercise. I want you to think about the first time you realized what race you were and that would affect you for the rest of your life. Now, every time I do that exercise, if you're racialized as white, it normally happens somewhere in university where you left wherever you were living and you went and you met all these different people, or you had a gap year and you traveled and you met all of these different people and you're like, wow, look how these people live. I can tell you that if you're racialized as any of the non-white heritages, that happens when you're a child, when you're 4 and your parents explain to you how to approach the police. That happens when you're 6 and you go to school and your parents explain to you that you need to tell the teacher when the child next to you calls you names. And that becomes a powerful part of your being, because if you're young enough to experience it, then we're young enough for us to talk about it. And that's my challenge to all of you. When we think of EdTech, we think very much of, let's make things fun and playful. And we do the superficial, and we put onto that system and say, let's make some of the characters ethnic. But how deeply have you thought? How much do you ensure that that's a core part of what is occurring? Because we want to move beyond the superficial to something that is going to drive change. And every person in this room, when you leave today, I have no care for your statements for yourself or your company. I care for the personal actions you take when I'm not in the room. Because it's the conversations that happen and the confidence you have to challenge those conversations that drives change, that drives our society. So when you're designing, when you're creating, when you're sharing and explaining, who are the people that you're utilizing and where does the knowledge and power come from? So when we think of what we've done at BAMEed, we started in 2017 with just a group of 5 people organizing a conference on WhatsApp, and we are now a regional dominator in this space as a grassroots charity. I take your applause. And we don't end there. We are looking for everyone to join us. And I do have to point out, within BAMEed, we hang out and we especially spend time with everyone who's been racialized as white. because they're the ones that hold the power. By finding those allies who are willing to speak on my behalf, who are willing to hold the room, who are willing to engage and put that work in to make change happen, that's when change is going to happen. Me talking here will not make change happen, but hopefully I would have planted a seed about what we are about, where our values lie, what our vision is, and that is going to encourage you to come on the journey with us and help us. So when we think about where we're going to be next, let's find some of these people who are on that journey. Please do have a conversation with Teacher Rue. We have joined with them because, as you can imagine, one of the things I commonly get told is, Allana, we can't find any teachers who are not white, so can you help us? And we did try to do that and found that we just didn't have the capacity. So Teacher are on board, and they have created for us a jobs board that allows us not only to hire or advertise diversely, but we've also put on there some training so that people who are racialized as anything other than white don't walk into a hostile environment. It has to be a full consciousness and culture. We're going into partnership with Microsoft, and thank you very much for everything that they've done for us so far. And we're building their educators systems so that we can have far more Microsoft innovative educators, experts, so that we can then dominate this area as well that is about computing and IT. We are working with the Festival of Education, and we're curating our own space within it. And we're working with the University of Wolverhampton and the National College for Education. We're also looking at how we can train more teachers to become computer teacher specialists and therefore hold them far more secure in the workplace. But that's enough from me, because I could talk for another 3 hours, trust me on this. What I want you to really focus on is what we're doing in all of our different regions, because every region of the UK is different, and their story is different, and the way that they're making change happen is different. And I want you to consider, where can I help, where can I join in, and how do I commit to this change?